Update: Am I the butthole for refusing to buy food for anyone in my household anymore? Hello there. Since so many people were gracious enough to leave advice on how to handle this, I decided I'd give you guys an update. So I decided I wasn't going to get a mini fridge for my room, but I did get a little cage for the family fridge to keep my leftovers in. My ma thinks it's ridiculous but accepts it. My dad, surprisingly to be honest, thought it was hilarious, and it made my sister really annoyed because she thought I was overreacting. As for everything else, I went to Target and got a storage box to keep my snacks in and put it in a safe spot, in my room. Many people's comments made me realize that my issue at hand was far bigger than my family eating my food. So at dinner I talked to everyone at once about how I felt towards their food thievery. My ma was immediately regretful, and I do believe that she feels bad. She offered to immediately replace the food that was eaten, but I said it was okay. I don't want compensation, I just wanted to stop. My dad. I'm not sure if he feels bad, but I did remind him that out of the two of them, I'm the only one that actually leaves the house and works on their feet. They work from home, so I think that I'm entitled to having my own food without worrying about it going anywhere. He seemed to have gotten the message. My sister didn't take it well. I'll spare the details, but it was a long and loud rant about how she doesn't eat that much of my food, and I was starting to annoy her. I don't eat as much quantity-wise as the rest of my family does. Apparently her logic was that since I'm not currently eating it, it should be okay for her to eat it instead. My ma tried to help me explain my feelings to her, but she started yelling louder and stormed away. Her attitude is different can of worms for another day. In the end, I am very confident that that situation has been worked out. I'm glad that I was able to successfully communicate to my parents about how I feel, and that I now have a system put in place where I can actually eat the food I buy without having to worry about someone else taking it. Thank you again, to everyone who left advice and pointed out what the real problem actually was. Fantastic. Just be wary of your sister trying to tamper with what you leave in the fridge now just to be spiteful. Oh, definitely. I still have my eye on her. I'm more relieved that my dad seems to understand how I feel, though. I have one of those little fridge cages as well. Mine has a number code lock, non-digital. It was to prevent my younger brother from eating various things like the grated cheese, feta and some other stuff that was bought for me to eat or to be used in dinners. It took some time to convince my mom to let me put the cage in the fridge. But it works pretty well. My sibling wasn't very amused either at first. I also told him that if he breaks it, he pays for a new one. It's become normal to see it in the fridge now, and my mom even sometimes asks for some of her stuff to be put in the fridge cage. I think it's low-key kind of adorable that your mom calls it the fridge cage, and it seemed like she kind of wants one too. I like cheese jail. Fromage cage? Only if you pronounce it so that both words rhyme. Doesn't matter which way, but they got to rhyme. Fromage cage. Nailed it. Fromage cage. That's the clear winner. I just wanted to be contrarian. Kajit not take your food. But here, take a look. Not what I had in mind, but A for creativity. Mold hold? Just got to use the Japanese enunciation, kage, then it rhymes with fromage. Cage de fromage. Oh, that's a good one too. La cage au fromage? I am actually the one who started calling it fridge cage, and the name kind of stuck. And I don't think she would want another in her fridge. It actually takes up quite a bit of space, about a bit less than half a shelf. Oh yeah, one is definitely enough then, laughing out loud. I give up. I've searched high and low for a fridge cage. Please, pretty please, tell me what they're really called. Dear Am I the Butthole sub, what is it really called? You can find A under the search term. Web link. Web link. My parents are finally starting to get, after 15 years of him being alive, that it's never me. It's always the little blonde mouse lol. My mom had to put her diabetes snacks in a safe, and my brother still broke in and broke it. Ah. That definitely worse than my sister. I'm very sorry for your mother that he did something like that. That really is awful. Why? What a dick move. How old is he? because unless he's like 3 or 4, there's no excuse. He is an adult who got an autistic and uses that as an excuse to eat her food and some of mine, but it gotten better a bit. I am autistic with and so is my BF. I can't imagine doing something like that. My boyfriend sometimes eats leftovers I'm trying to save, but nothing medically important. Well, my mom's is medically important as she has diabetes and has to eat snacks when her blood sugar drops. I'm more worried about her food than the other food. Absolutely. That was what I meant. I don't think having executive dysfunction is a decent reason to put in the effort required to break into someone's emergency blood sugar boosting snack supply. Or to ransack your bedroom looking for your snacks, simply to show she can do whatever the heck she wants to do. I'm speaking from experience, being the oldest. Little siblings are the most annoying. Food thievery in my childhood led to some very damaging eating habits that I'm still battling as an adult. My brother stole my food and candy a lot. My parents were genuinely trying and always made him spend his allowance to replace it and started locking up certain things, so I started overeating a lot so it wasn't there for him to steal. Still a constant and ongoing battle with myself to not eat an entire package of candy or cookies or a whole pizza in one sitting. I drink a lot of water and chew on food safe but inedible things a lot to keep my mouth otherwise occupied when food anxiety kicks in. Honestly, me too. I've been unpacking this year, but I have food FOMO because I knew if I waited to eat my treat/dinner until I was actually hungry, my older brother would eat it and I would get none. So now I eat even when I'm not hungry, because I want to get my taste or my share of something before it disappears. Exactly. My brother doesn't live at home anymore and it's easier when he's not here, but whenever he comes to visit, so does my food anxiety with a vengeance. I think this is what's happening to me now. I no longer live at home, but when I visit my parents, where my brother still lives, I feel stressed about not getting enough food. When I buy my own food, I find myself hiding it in my room, and during dinner I get very annoyed if someone goes in for seconds without leaving some for the rest of us. My parents are very bad at calculating portions, so there's almost never enough for everyone. I'm pretty sure that's where my issue stems from. My parents aren't poor or anything either. Also, when my brother's girlfriend comes to visit, they don't make more food, they just assume there will be enough, even though she usually has the biggest portions. She's pretty much always there when I visit, so that just makes it worse. I thought I was the only one. Whenever I eat with people, I get anxious I'll miss out. If I'm in a relationship, I have to make sure the portions are the same. If my partner gives themselves a bigger portion, I automatically think they did it on purpose or gave themselves the better serving. I have no idea where it came from. Psychologically and emotionally abusive childhood? Sure, but I never missed a meal. I'm still fighting this exact issue 40 years later. Dad and 2 brothers who were bottomless pits. There was no seconds and no later. I can't leave food sitting because it's going to disappear, despite being the only one here. I don't blame any of them, they all have normal, if huge, and appetites, but I can't leave food alone. I moved in with my dad for a year when I turned 30 and I worked 4 12-hour days in a row, and 1 8-hour day every week. On Sundays I would meal prep because I had an hour-long commute to and from work and I was too tired to think about cooking. About 2 months into my staying there, he started eating all of the meals I had cooked in the first 2 days of my work week. I had 5 days worth of breakfast, lunch and dinners in individual containers and they would be gone by Tuesday night. I would get home from work and have nothing to eat for dinner, and go to work without lunch the next day. I would stop and get fast food for breakfast. He absolutely could not comprehend what the problem was and never made an effort to stop or replace food. I started trying to keep food at work in the fridge and my boss would help herself after I left at night. Between the 2 of them I was ready to lose my mind. I started eating only canned and prepackaged food that didn't need refrigeration that I could hide in my closet, or fast food from the dollar menu. I gained so much weight. It was a really terrible year and I was so happy when I finally got my own apartment. I feel like I'm too food aggressive to ever live with another person again. It is not that you are food aggressive. Food aggressive is fighting someone over the last slice of pizza or pie. These people were literally stealing days and weeks worth of food from you and forcing you to go hungry with no regret for their actions. Please do not blame yourself for their greed. I think you would have been 100% justified in going nuts at them both. Jesus Christ. What the hell was your dad's rationale for that? That it was his house, his rules, or some stupid bullcrap like that? Also, some men do this thing where they pretend to not understand basic concepts that toddlers can grasp so they can continue their crafty behaviors. There is nobody above the age of 10 who can't at least fundamentally understand the concept of don't touch what isn't yours. Don't let him get away with, oh, I just don't get it. He gets it, he just doesn't have a reason to stop. Why would we? He could gorge himself disgustingly with free meals and do zero prep work. Should have spat in all the food. I know it's gross, but there's no telling some people. Or laced it with something obscenely hot, or diarrhea-inducing. It might not be what people typically think of as abuse, but depriving you of your things, and/or things you need, is a form of abuse. It's not surprising you have some scars from that. You might want to consider whether therapy might help you with that, especially if things like a romantic partner or kids are things you see as future possibilities. If you were living with someone like me, I wouldn't even think of taking any of your food, ever, unless you offered. There are such people, too. This is some weird selfish behavior. I'm a bottomless pit myself, always have been. I vacuum up seconds and I rarely leave leftovers. But if I didn't put something in the fridge, I don't take it out? And eat it? Like the F? I honestly think all it took was Mum being a shift nurse. If there was a portion of food in a box in the fridge, it was probably Mum's dinner/lunch/graveyard meal for tonight/tomorrow/yesterday/who knows. As far back as I can remember, that's made sense. Even till today, moved out and flatting, I will still not lay a finger on anything that's not mine. My flatmates will occasionally offer something like, hey, there's leftover pasta if you want it. I probably won't eat it and I still usually won't go for it. Nothing to do with quality of the food or sensory issues or anything. Eating other people's food is just anathema to me. Yeah, I have problems with food, but I'm not going to take food someone else is saving or planning on eating later. I'm actually inclined to wait before eating the last of anything because I want to make sure everyone ate. If I'm making a plate, and there isn't a lot in the pan, my milk tends to make small portions so there isn't leftovers. I'll confirm my wife and her mom have already gotten what they want. I understand some people have serious issues, but I also think some people just use any excuse they can to justify being inconsiderate. You bring up the point perfectly that just because you eat more and are a bottomless pit doesn't mean you deserve to eat someone else's food more than they do. You don't eat other people's food because it's disrespectful. Regardless of how hungry you are, it's not yours and it's not your right to tell someone how hungry they are and disrespect their vital need to eat with your own. You respect your mom, so you didn't eat her food. Period. This was my issue too. I would hurry to eat because if I didn't, everything would be gone before I was satisfied. Turned into binge eating, and though I'm way better, I still struggle with it. Out of curiosity, did the people who say they had to eat or their dad/siblings would eat it, how were your meals served? I know some people do like a buffet dinner where they put everything in the middle of the table and take what they want, but I've always been served my portion on a plate and there was leftovers for if it wasn't enough. I wonder if serving portions would have put a stop to a lot of the gutsy eating, since your plate is your plate. Dad would make our plate, but we couldn't get more until it was all finished. Since I was a girl, I got less, even though I was super active and on multiple sports teams throughout the year. So I'd have to finish before they got seconds and ate it all, if I didn't want to go to sleep hungry. Edited to add, there usually wasn't a lot of leftovers since we were on a tight budget. Dad got a ton, my brother got a ton, growing boy BS, I got kid portions. In my husband's family, you serve yourself. However, my mother-in-law has made a rule of children first, then ladies, and then the guys/bottomless pits, otherwise there won't be enough for everyone. I like that. No matter what your view on gender roles with the adults, if there isn't enough food for everyone to eat as much as they want and need, in nearly every situation young children should eat first. Once the children are fed, you can deal with the fact that not all the adults are going to get the heaping plate they want. But never, ever short a child food in order to keep a bottomless pit from pitching a fit. I mean, my dad says I'm a bottomless pit, but if there wasn't a lot of food, I'd definitely insist my little brother gets fed before me because you always feed kids first and you don't short others, especially kids, to appease a bottomless pit. Of course, this raises the question of when a young kid, most likely a preteen boy, is a bottomless pit. I still fight the girl gets less mentality I grew up with. It drives my husband batty since he thinks I should get the lion's share since I work and he is disabled. I still give him the bigger portion. Often, he switches plates so I end up with a bigger portion. Then I feel guilty. That really sucks. Misogyny strikes again. My mom would fix my plate when I was little, but about 4th grade she trusted me to start making my own plates. In my experience, this works fine as long as you are given normal portions served by someone else to you, but I think it kind of becomes a problem when you grow up and move out because you never learned how to control your own appetite and food portions. It can also be an issue if the person serving the family the food doesn't know appropriate portions according to everyone's needs, so someone get overfed or underfed, which can be unhealthy if the person is still young and growing, as it sets bad habits. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.